John.
Trial Tuesday is making an appearance Wednesday this week. Attorney David Aylor is here with just when you should retain a lawyer. Counselor, welcome to the program again, of course.
Good morning.
There are a whole bunch of issues, usually people, real estate, a criminal thing, a family matter, but your advice is that people usually get a lawyer when it's too late, so start early in this process.
Yeah, right. The problem is people will a lot of times be a little bit intimidated and understandably confused because it may be something they've never dealt with before.
Right.
And they'll try to deal with it on their own. And usually the reason for that is, they're thinking if I walk into a lawyer's office, it's going to cost me X, $100 or that sort of thing. And that's not always the case. What you've got to understand is a lot of lawyers, depending on what type of law it is, are going to give you an initial free consultation. Or if they are going to charge you something, you're going to know how much it is ahead of time. It could be somewhere between $50 to $250. But if you end up retaining them, then you'll end up having that money go towards whatever your fee is. And if you don't end up retaining them, at least you've bought your peace of mind, because then you've gone to an expert in that field or someone who really knows what they're talking about and has at least led you in the right direction.
That's the thing. These people are trained. Let's go over some of those situations right now. Let's start with real estate. Let's say you really want somebody on your side when you enter into these agreements.
Absolutely, and too many times, often between friends or neighbors or that sort of thing, people just try to do something really informal because it's a little bit awkward to kind of go down the formal route. But then when it unravels later, you have so many issues that if an attorney would have got involved and really just try to make it a formal contract from the beginning, both sides would be in a lot better position.
Especially with escrow, if you're buying a house, you definitely want somebody over there looking over your paperwork, make sure you're checking for mistakes.
Correct, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, particularly in this day and age with mortgage fraud and everything else. You may not have done something on purpose, but it could lead to some serious consequences.
Indeed. How about the criminal side of it? Usually when you're in the back of the cop car with cuffs on you, that's really when you start thinking about getting a lawyer.
Right, and a lot of people do often, but there's also a lot of people that think, well, I can go to court and handle this with, let's say it's a minor sort of arrest, a misdemeanor type of situation, or traffic violations, DUS, license suspension, that sort of thing. And unfortunately, if they miss the court date or they try to go talk with the judge or talk with the officer or prosecutor themselves, they end up putting themselves in a bad position because they're just really not educated to exactly what the best, remedy may be.
Indeed. So what's kind of the threshold, especially on the criminal side? Say, you get a speeding ticket. You don't really necessarily have to get the lawyer right there. Is it really a misdemeanor where you want to draw the line?
I mean, I don't think there's a certain line, but, depending on what your driving record is, even for a speeding ticket. So I have a lot of clients that come in, just because they're concerned about their traffic record and that sort of thing. But particularly if you have any type of offense as actual criminal offense. I know personally I would never want anybody I know going into a situation alone just simply for any other reason than you just really don't know what you're doing when you get there.
Indeed. What about family issues? There's a lot of them. We could talk about power of attorney. You can talk about living wills, that kind of thing. Also family care and family court. There's a lot of issues on the family side as well.
And I would probably say that family is the type of law that most people themselves try to handle too often and really put themselves in a bad spot. When you look at living wills, that sort of things, clearly you can get wills and any type of trust things off the internet. Unfortunately, you don't really know exactly what you're doing as far as to what's applicable, that sort of thing. So I'd be real careful about doing that. But when it comes to family law, child support, custody, things like that, so many times people will try to do these things pro se because, as you can represent yourself from anything from a custody battle to a murder charge.
You have that right.
But, it's just not the smartest thing, and you're probably going to end up a lot better off with an attorney.
So when in doubt, go for the attorney.
At least go talk to them.
Indeed. Get that consult. All right, David Aylor, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks
we appreciate it, sir. And we'll be right back with more Low Country Live after this.